I swear I wasn't trying to make a scene that morning. I was just late. Horribly, embarrassingly late. The kind of late where your alarm mocks you, your coffee machine gives up, and you grab the first thing hanging in your closet without even turning the lights on. The apartment was pitch dark, power outage of course, and I was scrambling by phone light. All I could think was, meeting at 9. Don't miss the meeting. I grabbed what I thought were black jeans, a crisp shirt, and a jacket. No time for logic. No time for a mirror. It wasn't until I stepped into the elevator that something felt off. The security guard's polite smile looked strained. The woman next to me kept glancing sideways, then down. I looked too, and froze. The fabric felt lighter, softer. My pants had become something else entirely. I was wearing a skirt. A bright red, knee-length, unmistakably feminine skirt. I just stood there, completely still, every thought in my brain scattering like confetti. No. Nope. Maybe it's just sporty. Maybe it's unisex. Maybe. The elevator doors dinged open before I could finish rationalizing, and suddenly I was in the lobby, in full view of half my coworkers. Laughter rippled through the hall. Not cruel, more stunned, like nobody quite knew how to react. I wanted the floor to swallow me whole. I mumbled something about wardrobe mix-up, clutched my bag in front of me, and made a beeline for the nearest restroom. Once inside, I finally faced the mirror, and burst out laughing. Not a bitter laugh, but that kind of hysterical, disbelieving laugh you can't control. The mirror showed me in a red skirt, mismatched sneakers, and a blazer 2 sizes too small. My shirt collar was crooked, my hair sticking out wildly, and I looked like a walking identity crisis. But then, something strange happened. Once the panic faded, I started to see it differently. The outfit didn't look terrible. In fact, it had flair, accidental, chaotic flair, but flair nonetheless. It was different. And for the first time in a long while, I wasn't invisible. I clutched my bag like it could shield me from the world and shuffled down the lobby. Every pair of eyes felt like lasers. Not malicious, just sharp, curious, amused, confused. I wanted to vanish. I wanted to apologize to every passerby without even knowing why. My phone buzzed in my pocket. A text from my coworker Ryan. Alex? You okay? Did your closet start a rebellion or something? I groaned, sliding my hand over my face. Yes. My closet has officially betrayed me. I ducked into the stairwell to regain composure. My skirt swished with every step, reminding me mercilessly that I was not invisible. I stopped, caught my reflection in the small glass panel of the stairwell door, and froze. Bright red. Knee-length. And I actually looked good? I pinched myself. Nope. Not dreaming. That was me, and I was about to face my coworkers looking exactly like this. The first challenge came in the elevator, full of people heading to the floor above. A few snickers. Some double takes. I tried to smile, keep my head high. Every second felt like a spotlight had been turned on just for me. When I finally reached the office floor, the whispers grew louder. Is that? Wait, Alex. Oh wow. I could feel my cheeks burning. I wanted to sink into the floor, but instead, I did something completely unplanned. I walked with purpose. Every step made my legs swish in the skirt, and every swish somehow made me feel taller, more noticeable. At my desk, I faced my reflection in the monitor. The chaos of the morning, the dark room, the wrong outfit, the elevator, suddenly seemed funny. I laughed quietly, drawing a few curious glances, and realized that maybe this disaster was a chance to experiment. By lunchtime, people weren't whispering about me anymore. They were talking to me. Asking about the skirt, joking about Monday moods, sharing their own oops fashion moments. The fear that had consumed me that morning slowly melted into something new, connection. It wasn't just about the outfit. It was about showing up, being seen, and letting a little imperfection make a big impression. By the end of the day, I was exhausted but alive. The skirt had started as a disaster, but it turned into a tiny, empowering adventure. And deep down, I knew one thing: tomorrow, I wouldn't be afraid to push the envelope, on purpose. The next morning, I woke up with a strange mix of dread and excitement. I had survived yesterday, and somehow, instead of shrinking, I'd started to feel curious. What if I tried something bold on purpose? What if I leaned into this accidental confidence instead of hiding from it? I opened my closet and paused. My eyes landed on a skirt I had never dared to wear to the office before, a soft, teal number that I had always thought was too bright. But today felt different. I paired it with a crisp white blouse, tucked in neatly, and laced up my favorite sneakers. Simple, but intentional. Standing in front of the mirror, I practiced my posture. Shoulders back, chin up, a subtle smile. I ran my fingers over the fabric. The skirt swished lightly around my knees, and I felt a thrill, a rush of daring energy I hadn't felt in years. At the office, the reactions were immediate, but this time, I controlled the narrative. Colleagues noticed the outfit, yes, but instead of panic or embarrassment, I smiled and joked about it. "Looks like I'm starting a new Monday tradition," I said, making light of it. Laughter filled the room. Someone even complimented my sense of style. That tiny spark of validation lit something inside me. Each glance, each remark, no longer felt like judgment. They felt like acknowledgement. I was being seen, and I liked it. By midday, I realized something remarkable. I was moving differently. I walked taller, talked clearer, gestured more freely. My energy had shifted. People responded in kind, smiling more, engaging more. And with each positive interaction, my confidence grew. During lunch, Jenna approached again. "Okay, seriously," she said, leaning on my desk. "You've got a glow today. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. It suits you." I laughed, genuinely this time. "Thanks. I guess I'm learning to enjoy my own mistakes." After work, I decided to take it one step further. I wandered through the nearby park, still in my office outfit, but letting myself own it. I swayed naturally, felt the skirt brush my legs in the evening breeze, and noticed strangers smiling at me, subtle nods, appreciative glances. Noticing me, not judging me, just seeing me. By the end of the walk, I understood something important. Confidence wasn't about perfection or hiding. It was about embracing imperfection, taking up space, and daring to be seen, even when the world might raise an eyebrow. That night, back in my apartment, I looked in the mirror again. The skirt hung perfectly, but more importantly, I hung differently. Light, confident, alive. I whispered to myself, maybe disasters aren't disasters at all. Maybe they're invitations. And for the first time in a long time, I felt ready to accept that invitation. It was Friday, and the office was buzzing with excitement about the weekly team showcase, a casual event where everyone presented ideas, gave updates, and shared wins. Normally, I would have spent the morning agonizing over what to wear, trying not to stand out. But today, I felt something different. A quiet, thrilling confidence. I opened my closet and deliberately chose a bold outfit, a flowing skirt in emerald green, paired with a fitted blouse and boots that clicked authoritatively against the floor. I paused in front of the mirror and smiled. I wasn't hiding anymore. I wasn't trying to blend in. I was showing up. As I entered the office, the usual murmurs began. Eyes turned, whispers floated around the room. But this time, instead of panic, I felt calm. I lifted my chin, walked with purpose, and met every gaze with a subtle, confident smile. The team gathered in the conference area, and as my turn approached, I felt my pulse quicken. This is it, the real test. Normally, I would shrink, stumble over words, and hope nobody noticed. But now, something inside me had shifted. I took a deep breath. "Good morning, everyone," I began, letting my voice carry clearly. I presented my ideas with energy, gesturing naturally, pausing for emphasis. The skirt swished lightly as I moved, but instead of embarrassment, I felt it grounding me, reminding me that I was visible and unashamed. When I finished, applause broke out. Not forced, not awkward, but genuine. People came up afterward, complimenting my presentation, laughing, chatting. And for the first time, I realized something extraordinary. My outfit, the very thing I had feared, had become a tool of empowerment. Later, Jenna sidled up, grinning. "You've completely owned it, Alex. Seriously. I didn't think anyone could turn a wardrobe disaster into this level of confidence." I laughed, feeling warmth spread through me. I guess I just stopped running from it. As the day ended, I walked out of the office into the evening light, the city buzzing around me. The skirt, the boots, the deliberate choice, it all felt symbolic now. I wasn't just wearing clothes. I was wearing confidence, visibility, self-acceptance. And in that moment, I understood the real lesson: disasters, mistakes, and unexpected turns, they're not endings. They're opportunities. Invitations to step into yourself fully, unapologetically, and embrace life with courage. The following week felt different. I walked into the office with a quiet, steady confidence I hadn't had before. My outfits became less about hiding mistakes and more about expressing myself. Sometimes it was a bright skirt, other times bold accessories, other times just a confident smile. Whatever it was, it felt like armor, and wings at the same time. People noticed. Not in a judgmental way, but in a way that invited connection. Colleagues started asking for advice on style, commenting on presentations, or just smiling when I walked past. I realized something I hadn't before: confidence was contagious. When I stopped trying to shrink, the people around me started to rise, too. Even more importantly, I started noticing my own growth. I laughed more freely, spoke more clearly, and took up space without guilt. The wardrobe mishap that had felt like a disaster turned out to be a catalyst. A strange, chaotic gift that forced me to confront my fears of judgment and step boldly into my own light. One evening, I caught myself in the hallway mirror. I adjusted my blouse, smoothed the skirt, and smiled. Not at the outfit. Not at the approval I had begun to receive. But at myself. At the person who had learned to laugh at mistakes, embrace imperfection, and turn vulnerability into strength. I whispered softly, almost to myself, "I like you. I really like you." It wasn't vanity, it was acceptance. It was acknowledgement that I had the courage to face embarrassment, the curiosity to explore who I could be, and the resilience to turn a tiny, chaotic mistake into a life-changing lesson. That night, I texted Jenna. "Thanks for believing a little in my chaos. Feels good to finally step into it." Her reply was simple. "I always knew you'd shine. Looks like the world finally caught up." And in that moment, I understood something I will never forget. Transformation doesn't come from perfection, control, or planning. It comes from showing up, embracing the unexpected, and allowing yourself to be seen. Completely, unapologetically, beautifully. From that day forward, I stopped fearing mistakes. I started chasing boldness. I started laughing louder. I started living brighter. And every time I stepped into the world, I remembered that sometimes, the best transformations happen when you least expect them, and when you finally decide to let yourself shine. Looking back, I realize how fragile our confidence can feel, and how surprisingly powerful a small, accidental moment can become. A dark room, a wardrobe mishap, and a little embarrassment taught me more about myself than any planned effort ever could. I learned that courage isn't the absence of fear, it's showing up despite it. That mistakes aren't failures, they're invitations to grow, explore, and embrace who we truly are. And that being seen, fully and honestly, is one of the most liberating experiences imaginable. Now, every time I dress, every time I step out, I remind myself, life's little surprises can become our greatest teachers. We just have to let them. So if you've ever felt awkward, unprepared, or out of place, remember this: sometimes the disaster is exactly what you need to shine. Embrace it, own it, and let it transform you. Because the best version of yourself often waits on the other side of a mistake. A week later, I found myself walking down the same city street where I had first dared to experiment with boldness. The sunlight caught the folds of my favorite skirt, the breeze playing with the hem, and I smiled to myself. People passed by, glancing at me briefly, some smiling, some indifferent, but it didn't matter. I no longer needed validation. I had learned that confidence, authenticity, and self-acceptance weren't gifts from others. They were choices I could make every single day. I stopped in front of a shop window, watching my reflection. The skirt, the posture, the smile, it wasn't just fabric or image. It was me, fully present, fully alive, and fully unapologetic. Sometimes, it takes a little chaos to show you who you really are. Sometimes, a mistake isn't a mistake at all, it's a doorway. And stepping through it? That's where the magic begins. With one last glance at my reflection, I whispered, "Let's see what tomorrow brings." And with that, I walked on, lighter, bolder, and ready for whatever life would throw my way next. This wraps up the full storytelling journey, giving your audience a satisfying, reflective, and inspiring ending while keeping it immersive and relatable. If there's one thing I want you to take from my story, it's this: life's little accidents, unexpected moments, and wardrobe disasters aren't setbacks, they're opportunities. Opportunities to learn, to grow, and to step into yourself fully. The next time you feel out of place, awkward, or exposed, remember, confidence doesn't come from perfection. It comes from showing up, embracing who you are, and daring to take up space in the world. So whatever your red skirt moment might be, whatever mistake or surprise feels too big to handle, lean into it. Laugh, explore, experiment, and see where it takes you. You might just discover a side of yourself you never knew existed. Because the magic of life isn't in avoiding mistakes, it's in embracing them, owning them, and letting them transform you. And that's exactly what I did. And you can too.